Hello, it's the Culture Genie. When people think about angels, they mostly picture a majestic human-like winged being of perfection and beauty. That's the stereotypical look that most angels have when shown in works of art or of popular culture. But this look is far from the actual version of angels described in the Bible and in Islamic traditions. Biblical angels were generally strange, frightening creatures, more like eldritch abominations, like something you would find in the works of Lovecraft, than these beautiful, majestic, human-like beings that we usually picture them as in our imagination and in popular imagination. Here are some examples of this from Ezekiel, where he describes seeing an angel in a sea of flame. Within it, there seemed to be 4 living creatures with human forms. Each had 4 faces. Each had 4 wings. Their legs were straight, and they had hooves like those of a cloth, sparkling with a gleam like that of burnished bronze. Below their wings, they had human hands on their 4 sides. All 4 of them had faces and wings. They touched one another with the wings. They did not turn as they moved. Each of them moved straight ahead. In other words, he's describing a creature that has like 4 bodies in one, fused together, by him claiming that they did not turn as they moved, but rather just moved straight ahead. They are also described as having hooves instead of feet. Thus, they are more like beasts than human beings in this regard. Later in Ezekiel, they also describe these angels as having the faces of a human being, and on the right side the face of a lion, and on the left the face of an ox, and behind the face of an eagle. So 4 different faces, with 3 being bestial in nature. Even the angels that are somewhat human-like are actually very different than we imagine. For example, in Isaiah, in attendance above him were Seraphim. Each of them had 6 wings. With 2 they covered their faces, with 2 they covered their feet, and with the 3rd pair they flew, and they called out to one another. So here we have an example of angels that cover their eyes, so you will never see their eyes, and also cover their feet with a pair of wings. Even this gives a kind of ethereal, unworldly appearance to them. Kind of uncanny when you think about it, as you will never see their faces as they are covered. Now these angels were relatively human, and I've described some more monstrous angels before. But these angels are far from the strangest description in the Bible of an angel. I would promote this one as the strangest description of an angel. As I looked at the living creatures, I saw a wheel on the ground beside each creature with its 4 faces. This was the appearance and structure of the wheels. They sparkled like topaz, and all 4 looked alike. Each appeared to be made like a wheel intersecting a wheel. As they moved, they would go in any one of the 4 directions the creatures faced. The wheels did not change direction as the creatures went. The rims were high and awesome, and all 4 rims were full of eyes all around. So surrounding these 4-headed angels that I previously described are angels that look like 2 wheels or circles, rimmed with eyes. A multitude of eyes. Just try to imagine this in your imagination, of these turning wheels rimmed with eyes intersecting each other, and that is an angel. It doesn't look human at all. It doesn't even look bestial, but rather it looks like something that is far above from our realm, something very eldritch, that should not be living but is. Think about how terrifying this is, and combine it with all the other descriptions of terrifying and strange angels. Now imagine how it is in the Bible when they meet humans. These terrifying appearances is one of the reasons as to why angels in the Bible often tell people to not be afraid of them. And the angel said to her, "Do not be afraid, Mary, for you have found grace with God." Of course, the insistence on saying that Mary had found grace with God also points to the other reason as to why angels are so feared in the Bible. And that is that angels are usually sent to punish people in the Bible when they are not acting as messengers. And you can imagine being punished by a supernatural, overmighty creature like an angel that looks like these descriptions I've described. Speaking about Gabriel, who is the angel that usually give messengers, the Abrahamic traditions. Let's talk about him in the Islamic tradition. Gabriel, or Jibreel, was the angel that recited the Quran to the Prophet Muhammad when he was meditating in the cave of Hira. Remember the terrifying appearances that angels have in the Abrahamic traditions, combined with their roles as punishers. And now you will understand why Muhammad was so scared when he first saw the angel Jibreel for the first time, according to Islamic traditions. And we know that Jibrail's appearance was terrifying because in Islamic traditions, specifically the hadiths, that is to say the stories about Muhammad and his companions, have described the angel Jibreel as having 600 wings, each pair so enormous that they crowd space between east and west. أنه رأى جبريل له 600 جناح. This story from Sahih al-Bukhari recounts that he, the Prophet, saw him, Jibreel, as having 600 wings. Imagine a creature with 600 wings. It's such a high number that it becomes incomprehensible almost to picture it. So it's obvious that Islamic traditions share this view of strange and often terrifying visages of angels with the previous biblical traditions. This nature of angels being these terrifying monstrosities almost should be remembered when God in the Bible or in Islamic tradition sends his angels down to earth. It is not human-like beings, but rather these terrifying creatures of God's wrath made manifest. So when God sends his angels down to earth to punish people, it's not like human soldiers slaughtering people, but rather large, incomprehensibly powerful monsters that slaughters thousands, like in this example in Kings 1935. That night, the angel of the Lord went out and put to death 185,000 men. One angel, as an incomprehensibly powerful creature with a terrifying appearance, slaughtered these people in the Bible. And in the Islamic tradition, Jibreel also helped Muhammad in times of political crisis and in battles, coming to his aid at, for example, the Battle of Badr, with thousands of angels. Now try to imagine how a believer in these sorts of angels would imagine that it is like facing these sorts of very powerful angels with terrifying appearances. Because you have to understand that for a believer, these angels are real. They are real creatures that exist and have been created by God to carry out his will. This is the view of angels that is found in the religious sources. But it's still quite different from the view that most would actually have of angels. The classical view of winged humans with almost perfect appearance. It is kind of strange as to why angels become what we see them today as being. That being majestic human-like winged beings of perfect appearance. And it happened around the same time in the 9th to 10th century that the view began to shift in both Islam and Christianity. So it was across both civilizations at around the same time. Of course, winged human-like angels existed before this time as well, but they become very popular during this time and afterwards in depictions. So of course the old view did not go away and still existed, as it's, in the scripture. But the popular view of angels changed, and this view of the perfect winged humans became the standard in both Christian world and in the Islamic world. Some of this might stem from the fact that angels sometimes, in both the Bible and in Islamic traditions, actually take the form of humans. But some can also be attributed to the fact that it's hard to relate to a being that is too inhuman, and relate to the stories where they are involved in. Thus, they are depicted as winged humans without the most monstrous and bestial of features. Hello, I hope that this video was interesting and that you have now understood that angels in the biblical traditions and in the Islamic traditions are not as you would probably imagine them being, and rather than majestic winged humans have stranger and more frightening appearances. Please don't forget to push the like button if you like this video. Please do subscribe, as it would help the channel spread awareness about the humanities. اشترك بالقناة من فضلكم.